Hello, this is video 4B, the end of the 2 videos for quiz number 4. And we're going to talk today about installment loans, installment buying patterns. The formulas are on the unit number 2 sheet. It's the M formula. That's another new letter we have to introduce. M, which will stand for monthly payment, monthly installment payment. And I'm going to give it to you up here how you would enter it into the calculator as a straight line. Here we go. There it is. Now, when you write it vertically, you don't have as many parentheses, but this is what you need so you don't make any mistakes with order of operations. So there's that 1 plus R over N. And then here, for the numerator, you don't, order of operations are okay because everything's multiplication and division, so long as you put them in like that. But here you're going to need the extra parentheses to fit the whole denominator that you see vertically. Okay, so M is the monthly installment payment. Now, we have 2 ways of calculating M. We can calculate it by this formula, which we can do for when we get to mortgages also, because it's a monthly payment. So N is 12 automatic if it's monthly. So let's start with, let's say we want to finance, it's still present value at P. So let's say we want to finance $985. And the rate that we're going to borrow is 6%. And N is 12. It'll always be 12 for these. And it's for 1 year. We want to borrow $985 for 1 year. So how much is our monthly payment? So we borrow the $985 at the beginning of the year. And now instead of having just a simple loan where we have 1 interest payment, at the end, theoretically, at the maturity date, we're going to be paying off every month as we go. So what happens is they determine the total interest, add it to the principal, divide by 12, and that's your monthly payment. So you pay actually, you're actually paying more interest up front, but it evens out over time. If you use all 12 payments, it doesn't matter. Now, usually for this class, we do early installment buyouts where people skip the last 12 payments and pay a lump sum. But we're not going to do that because we don't have the wherewithal with the way it's set up this month. We can't do it. So we're just going to be straight up with this. Every loan is going to be to maturity. You pay all the payments. So if we use this formula, let's see what the monthly payment is. Now, I don't really need the parentheses around the -12, but it doesn't hurt. And notice that's a negative. So on your calculator, you have to know the difference between a negative sign and a minus sign. The minus sign's longer and lower, and the negative sign is shorter and higher. And it's in parentheses typically on the calculator keyboard. You can't start with a minus sign. Because a minus sign is technically a binary operation. You need 2 numbers. Whereas a negative sign is a unary operation. You just need the 1 number. So it's -12. It's not minus. We say -12, but it's technically -12. So when I work this out, I get $84.78. So that's my monthly payment for 12 months. So if they ask me what's the interest, well, I first have to figure out what the accumulated value is, the total value. And that'll be P plus I. But I don't know what I is. I'm trying to figure it out. But I do know what the total is by 12 times M. So that's 12 times 84.78. And so the total amount I pay back for the loan in those 12 payments will be 12 times 84.78. Oop. So $1,017.36. So that's. I know this is a payment. So if you're thinking like a savings, then it's accumulated. It's the total accumulated amount. So I can then figure out what I is by subtracting P. So I would be equal to 736 minus 985. And so I would get 36 and 15 and 17 is 32. So the total interest is $32.36. Of course, maybe all they were interested in was this, a monthly payment. That's M. Now the other way to solve for M is to use the table, which is found in the middle of the second page on your formula, Unit 2 formula sheet. And it says, annual percentage rate for monthly payment plans. And now this is a very shortened version. If you went to a bank or a loan house, they would have a much more detailed with whatever amount of months you wanted and different percentages. These are just by 0.5%. So, but for purposes of academics, it'll suits us fine. So the way we do this is we find 6% and we go down to 12 payments and we see call that a V number, 3.28. So V equals 3.28. So that's per 100. You see, it says finance charge per $100 of amount financed. So what I do is I multiply V by the number of hundreds, which is 985 divided by 100, or 9.85. So if I take 3.28 and multiply by 9.85, I should get that number or close to it. Sometimes these don't agree, unfortunately. $32.31. So there's a discrepancy of a nickel depending on which method you used. Typically these do match up much better than this, but at any rate, the answer to the question is $84.78 is the monthly payment. And if somebody says, what's the interest? Well, we have two different answers. So I usually do these both ways. So if you do it either way and you get either answer, I'll give you credit. I'm not going to argue with you for a nickel. Maybe the bank will, but Dr. K won't. Okay, so let's do another example. So the second example is a little bit bigger amount. It's $11,000. You're going to borrow $11,000. So this is like maybe for a car. $11,000 might be a used car or a new car with a trade-in. Make a trade-in, you borrow $11,000 to pay for the new car. 6.5%. So P is 11,000. R is 6.5%. N is 12 because it's monthly payment, and it's T equals 4 years. So you bought a car, 48. There's 48 payments, right? NT is 48. So let's work it backwards. Let's look at the table if you look at the table and you find 6.5% at the top, and you go down to 48, you get 13.83. So I multiply B by the number of hundreds. That'll give me the total interest. So the number of hundreds is 110, right? If I divide that by 100, I get 110. And so the total interest will be 13.83 times 110, $1,521.30. So that's the total interest that I would owe after 4 years. That's how we figure it out using these tables. Now, every month it's a different amount of interest, but it's all leveled off. And like I said, if we're not going to pay it off early, it doesn't matter. And there's schedules to figure out unused interest because the bank can't charge you for unused interest. But that's another story. We're not going to go there right now. So how do I figure out the monthly payment using this? Well, I take the principal plus the interest. That gives me the total amount. So if I take the principal plus the interest and divide by 48, that'll give me the monthly payment. So it's 11,000 plus 1521.30 divided by 48. Now you remember, you put this in a calculator, you got to use parentheses, right? Because order of operations is you want the plus to happen before you do the division. So if I put parentheses 11,000 plus 1521.3 parentheses divided by 48, I get $260.86. So that's our monthly payment to secure the loan for this car. That's keep in good standing and pay it off. Now let's do it the other way using the formula. So using the formula, M is equal to 11,000 times R, 0.065, divided by 12, divided by 1 minus 1 plus 0.065, divided by 12. See, there's that 1 plus R slash N again. It's always there. And then negative NT. So negative NT is negative 48. So we'll just put negative 48. You put this in the calculator. So I'll do it along with you. Let's see what happens. So parentheses 11,000 times 0.065 divided by 12 parentheses divided by parentheses 1 minus parentheses 1 plus 0.065 divided by 12 right parentheses caret. I don't need the parentheses around the negative 48, so I do negative 48 right parentheses. $260.86. It's 86,448, but it cancels. Truncates. So you can see for this one, we got exactly the same answer. There was no 5-cent discrepancy. Maybe for certain values, smaller values, it happens that way. Maybe for larger values, the numbers work out slightly different. But that's our monthly payment. Okay. One more. So this last one is before I start, some of the lingo. Interest on a loan is also called finance charge, total finance charge. That's just the interest. So if you hear that, it's another way of referring to the interest. So Brenda signs an $8,500 note for a central air conditioner. She wants to do it for 48 months. So N equals 12, T equals 4. That's how we get 48 payments, obviously. Now, here we're going to introduce the idea of a down payment. she has to pay 10% cash down payment, which means she's not really borrowing this much. See, 10% times the cost will be $850. So the principal will be $8,500 minus the $850, and so that'll be $7,650. This is the cost, 10% down, so she can get this. This is what she actually is going to borrow. That's the principal. So the rate's 4%. I forgot to tell you that, 4%. All right. So she's buying an air conditioner. How much is it going to cost her per month? That's what we're really interested in. So they want to know two things. They want to know the total finance charge and the monthly payment. So if we use the table, I find R equals 4%, and I go down to 48, and I see V is 8.38. So I take 8.38 and multiply by the number of hundreds, which is 76.5, right? If I move the decimal place over, 76.5 hundredths. So this is the total interest. So what do we get? $641.07. So that's the total interest she has to pay on this amount that she's borrowing, P plus I. So I add those two together. I divide by the number of payments. So that'll be 7,650 plus 641.07 divided by 48. And we get $172.73. That's it. That's her monthly payment by this air conditioner, plus her down payment, 10% of the cost. So if we use the other method with the formula, that'll be 7,650 times 0.04 divided by 12 divided by 1 minus 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12. See, it keeps happening. You see those R over N a lot. So you get used to it. And then caret, negative NT is negative 48. As long as I use the negative sign there, I'll be okay. I don't need parentheses because it sees it as a negative exponent. And if you do this, you get, let's just do it. 7,650 times 0.04 divided by 12, right parentheses, divided by left parentheses, 1 minus left parentheses, 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12, right parentheses, caret, negative 48, right parentheses. 172.73. Once again, we get the exact same number for M. Either way, either method. Now, if I did this method to find the finance charge, now I have to multiply that by 48, so I would get the total amount, A. So 48 times 172.73, and actually, let's just do it in one step. Since we want to know I, we're going to subtract P from A, so we're going to subtract 7,650. And we should get 641.07. Let's see if that works. So I take 48 times 172.73 minus 7,650. I get 641.04. Now the reason for that is because this was 173.73, I don't know, I think it was 2. This was 172.7299. So there is a little bit of a difference. And over the span of 4 years, you're looking at 3 cents difference. So the bank will work that out. If it's their 3 cents, they'll get it. Once again, depending on how you work the problem, I'm not going to mark either answer incorrect because 3 cents is not something we want to argue about. We'll leave that to the bank and the guys with the money bags. Okay, so that's installment buying for loans. Once again, we're not going to do any early payoffs, buyouts. If you want to know about that, sometime when you're on campus, come by, see me. I'll explain it to you. It's just that you have to get a new V because V changes, and then you figure out what's the interest, unearned interest. You subtract it from the total amount that's left, and that gives you a little bit of a break. But remember, interest is always top loaded. You always pay more interest at the beginning. Okay, that's video 4B. Dr. K out. I'll see you soon.